Bennett Davison with a EuroHooplife interview. We're going to be interviewing a coach, a little something different. We usually do basketball players, but we're going to do a coach. John Saintignon, you're a U of A alumni, and how you doing today?
No, I'm doing fantastic, man. I mean, not a U of A alumni. I'm a UC San Diego alumni,
Okay.
but I grew up in Tucson and definitely followed everybody's career there.
It's the same thing. That love for Tucson U of A basketball and big growing up there. You're still a part of it.
The only show in town until I went to Oregon State as a coach, and then became my nemesis.
There you go. Back when it was the Pac-10. So let's get into it. What was the city like, the country like, Bahrain, and how did you end up getting over there?
Yeah, so if you look on a map, Bahrain is the tiniest country you'll ever see. So I get this phone call in 2009, and I have no idea. And I was like, I never even heard of this country.
Okay.
Play basketball there, and it's part of F.I.B.A Asia, and it's right next to Qatar and Saudi Arabia. It's the smallest country you'll ever see.
So it's like Brunei. It's like just kind of like a small little landmass.
Just the tiniest island you've ever seen, and so lots of my coaching career, just like my playing career, I take risks. I don't know where things are going to lead. You never know. And in the world of coaching basketball, that's really what it is. It's an adventure, and you're trying to see what's best for you.
Yep, nice. And so when you ended up getting over there, and you said it was an island, correct?
Yeah, it's an island.
What were your expectations, and then kind of transition into over the next minute and a half of what the team setup was like? What was the living situation? What were their facilities? How did they kind of overall basketball, since you played at a high level and you've coached at a high level? What was your comparison stateside?
Yeah, so as a player, when I led the country in scoring as an NCAA athlete, that was before the onset of video and communication like this. That was just pure paper at that time.
Yeah.
And it allowed me an opportunity to then therefore go to Spain and play. But there were not many leagues in the world at that time. They were just really limited. ACB, and that was it. Now it has 6 levels there.
Yep.
It's totally different. So now we fast forward to this arena now in Bahrain. Now the world plays all over the place. And so each country believes that they invented the game of basketball, and that it's their way, and then they have this ideology. I had no idea. What I'm going into. All I know is my perceived notions of that it's the Middle East. And now I'm, how's this going to work? What's the culture going to be like? I'm not sure. I have no idea. And so I go with, the expectation of, again, that adventure and go see what it's like. So initially I'm hired as a replacement coach, and I arrive, and it's high level basketball. There was a player that was on the team for the University of Georgia. And ironically, when I was at Oregon State, we played the University of Georgia. So had some familiarity. Yeah. So it was great in that regard. But like anything, if you're going into a new language as it relates to basketball. A basketball player has his own set of circumstances and his knowledge of what his prior coach is teaching him, his culture, the language. Here I am now as a replacement guy, and the thrust upon, let's get us to the top 6.
Yeah.
Gosh, I have no idea what I'm walking into. So luckily, like everything else, you establish a relationship with a couple key guys, and they will then therefore tell the other guys to kind of fall in line.
Yeah.
And we adopt and we grow from there. So the expectations were
good, and they were met. So when you got over there, what was it like? What was the city like? Was it a big metropolis city? Was it a kind of a small town? What were the facilities like? Is it something that, as a professional athlete and coach, it's get a contract Monday, sign it Tuesday, leave Friday, leave for 6 to 10 months? What were their, once you got there, what was it like? What were some of the things?
Well, it's the same thing. So I get there, and it's very professional. I mean, I arrive, and owner has someone pick me up, and the rest of the world operates on their own timetable. So what I learned immediately is that the Bahraini culture is a night culture. They stay up late, man. And because I got in, and I don't know if it was maybe 1 or 2 in the morning, and they're ready, and we're sitting there having coffee, and the owner wants to see immediately. This goes till 4 a.m, man. And so they have no concept of time as it relates to, like I said, all athletes, all coaches, as soon as you arrive, man, you're on their timetable.
Yeah.
So that's what it was like. We were talking and just getting the expectations down. Now, Manama is a big city.
Okay.
It is a booming metropolis. It has everything: skyscrapers, elite shopping. I mean, high level cars, diplomacy.
Yep.
Consulates from all over the world are there because oil and gas is a big deal in that region.
Okay.
And come to know, the United States has the United States Navy is the Fifth Fleet is situated there. So huge influence
Navy base,
with America.
military bases and stuff around it also.
Yeah. And so it also has an influence from the British, because the British colonies. Yep. So there you go. This was all intermingling and all interactive. So awesome. It wasn't I didn't walk into something completely unknown.
So when I played in Istanbul, Turkey, I think there was like 12 to 16 teams, and I think 7 or 8 of the teams were in Istanbul. Is this kind of the same setup where all the different teams are kind of in that? Since you said it was such a small country, is it?
Yeah.
All the teams are centralized in that one city, or are they all kind of like spread out throughout the country?
Yeah. So they're all in that little country, and they're all pretty much in this city. It's not so large of a city, but they're like little villages. So where I coached was a village called Sitra, and there are a number of other ones. There were 12 teams at the time, and so they're all in these they call them their own clubs.
Okay.
So when you go to these clubs, they're well-oiled machines. They are fully clubs. They are swimming pools, weight room, coffee shops, your arena, your gym. My gosh, and you're wondering like, wow, this is amazing.
So it's a good situation for a player to come in and feel comfortable and be like, oh, okay, I can get into the gym, access it, get some extra shots up. This is where we practice. This is where we play. Here's our medical team. Everything is set up like what we would expect as professional athletes.
As a player, and a more experienced player absolutely loves being there. Okay. Once they're there, because the living conditions are out of this world. Okay. A flat there is maybe 2,000 square feet plus.
Okay.
And you get a car, and so you're able to transport, and then you've got the ability to speak English. It's a second language. It's as well all over the place. You have places called American Alley where you will never know that you're not in America. So in that regard, athletes love it. Now, the main reason they love it is because you play in one centralized arena and no travel.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, I'd coached in Mexico prior to that, and we played 4 times a week, and we had massive amounts of travel.
Yep.
And so you're on a bus to a hotel to an arena, bang, 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 and you were exhausted. Well, but when I got to Bahrain, I was like, wow, one centralized arena, no travel. This is outstanding.
Yeah,
players love it.
You play there, coach a long time if you have a winning record, and kind of stay there for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. If you did it right. So in 2009, once I had taken that team into that top 6, that region that they had wanted me to get the team to, I was offered a 5-year contract, and that's kind of unheard of in the world of coaching.
FIBA, yeah, it's usually 1 year, maybe 2 years if you're lucky, kind of thing.
Yeah, 1 year renewable. Maybe 2 if you're lucky. I was offered a 5-year deal. So it was wonderful, man. I clearly signed it. And then as you live abroad, anything can happen. So in 2011, there's this little thing called the Arab Spring that comes.
Yep.
And man, it completely changed the dynamic of my environment. And
you had to get out.
Started with little political deals in Tunisia, and then it ran into Egypt, and then my players said, "Yeah, we want to protest on Valentine's Day." Okay, that's great, because the Bahrainis, have a voice, but there's no weapons.
Yeah,
and it turned into the army that was protecting like the government were not from Bahrain. So they had no ties like these other countries did. And so here's where the politics play a key part in the world.
So did it shut down the whole season? Basically, the whole season got shut down, or?
Yeah, so the Arab Spring came hot and heavy into that little tiny island of Bahrain. And next thing you know, within 3 to 4 weeks, we're in martial law. Because it's getting so much publicity from CNN and Al Jazeera and everywhere else of this political uprising from this tiny little country, that Saudi Arabia did not want any of that to happen.
Yeah.
And one day they all come in, and it's total lockdown. It's martial law. There are tanks located on streets. There are military everywhere, and now it's a tenuous scenario. As an American, it wasn't for me. It wasn't against me at all, because the Fifth Fleet was there. This was a political struggle amongst themselves, an ideology, Sunni, Shiite. The people there wanted a voice. They thought they were going to have a democracy, but unbelievable 250-year monarchy. Never going to happen.
So obviously, and I've actually heard some stories of a University of Arizona basketball player was in Syria, and he actually had to be smuggled across the border to get out of there to be able to. And his like at 2 a.m, he had to walk across the border at 4, 5, 6 a.m, all at the same kind of situation. So while you're there, and then let's kind of just wrap this up with just like the financial side. Obviously, that's a extreme situation, being in the right place, wrong place at the wrong time, kind of thing. While you're there, that was obviously 10 years ago. Had things calmed down, and let's kind of like spend the last minute just saying, like, financially, when you were there, how was playing in Bahrain?
So things definitely calmed down. The league got right back up the following year, and recouped and got everything back to
So you would recommend a player or a coach going over there and signing?
Oh man, without a doubt, that is one of the best places to be. You're treated very well financially. You're treated very good. A top high-level athlete can do very well there.
You might think like 10,000 plus?
Oh, yeah, there were athletes on that were making way more than that.
Okay.
Yeah. Some were upside of 20,000 a month.
Okay.
And it's remarkable because the lifestyle, it's almost like Miami. I mean, if you could picture where I was living in a high-rise, big place, you can literally go out and jet ski.
Awesome.
And so it was nice, and the nightlife and all the other good things that come along with it, as long as you're culturally respective, have respect of Ramadan, for example, and you're not out in the public just eating. I mean, that's just common sense. These are things that need athletes.
Well, it's just an adjustment to any culture that you're in. So awesome.
Yeah.
Well, John, if any of your players have in the future any questions, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yes, so I'm on every social media there is possible, so all you have to do is just look me up. It's my name is John, and last name is Saintignon, Saintignon. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it.
Awesome.
You can find me.
Awesome. Well, we're going to knock out one more interview and talk about Mexico and possibly Japan. John, thank you for your time.
Fantastic. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.